Welcome to Country Kickback, where you'll hear the latest music from performers you already know and discover new music and artists from around the world. If you have an artist you'd like us to chat with, reach out to the team at countrykickback.com, or you can watch our live videos and more by following us on social media and YouTube. Here is your host, Danni Shaw, with the latest from Country Kickback.
Hello. It's been a long week. I haven't got to see you guys. We had shows planned for Thursday and then I had issues with my power. So it's great to finally be getting to talk to Craig, and I've got Ronnie again shortly as well. Let us know where you are. What music are you listening to this weekend? Are you going to any live shows? I know there's a lot on. I've had a lot of messages asking if I'm going to places. So I know there's a lot happening. So let me know where you are and where you're watching from and what music you're listening to. We're going to have a chat to Craig now. It's been a little while since we had him on the show, so we want to hear what he's been up to and his new songs. So we'll welcome him into the room. Hello.
Hi, Danni. How are you going?
I'm good. How are you? It's been a while.
Yes, I'm very well.
Music has been going all right, because I know everything's changed for us all. How has that been going for you? Have you been able to keep in a little bit, or?
Yeah, I have. I've actually used the opportunity to record an album, which is I'm releasing in January at Tamworth. So that's my first album. So it's taken a while, but yeah, all the lockdowns and everything, particularly here in Victoria, gave me plenty of time to work on all of that.
How are you feeling putting a whole album out? Is the first one? Are you nervous, excited? How is it all ready to go?
Back in the studio for the final touches tomorrow, actually. But yeah, nervous and excited, I think. It's always a bit nerve-wracking putting stuff out there and seeing what the reaction is, but I know how much work I've put into it and others have put into it with me, so excited to see it out there as well.
It's so exciting. There's people popping into the room saying hi. So Paula's just popped in to say hi, and she's awesome to hear that you've got your new album. So she wants to hear all about it, which we can definitely do, Paula. And I've had a few people message. Kaz said that she's at work. Otherwise, she was so looking forward to the live, but she said, I'll be at work at that time. So I know that she'll watch the replay, and she'll probably pop something in the comments if she's got any questions. But yeah, so you've been obviously doing that the album. Has it been difficult, or did you just sort of fall into the right times with all the lockdowns that you had? Could you do all of that in one go, or did you have to sort of do it in bits and pieces?
Yeah, it was done in bits and pieces. The first two singles were done when Victoria was in the really strict lockdown, and that was quite an experience. I recorded those the vocals actually in my shed, which in the final version now we've managed to re-record in the studio, so that's been fantastic. But the first two singles, I'd never even been into a studio because it was all done remotely. So the rest of the album being done in the studio with the full band and everything else was a real learning curve, because I had never done that before. So it's amazing.
Be fun, a lot of fun, and yeah, a lot to take in at the time too, I imagine, as well.
Yeah, and a lot to learn from the other musicians, the people I was working with, and certainly Marilyn and David Carter in particular, who've been guiding me on the journey. Carter and Carter, they've been absolutely incredible, and I've learned so much from them and all the other musicians. And I do a lot of public speaking, performing and things in my day job too, and so I don't really get nervous doing any of that, but I was genuinely nervous on the first day in the studio. It was a strange experience.
Just not familiar ground, I guess, in that, and also your own music as well, doing all that in one go, so that would have been quite nerve-wracking. Yeah. So at the moment, your current single, Take the Wheel, tell us a little bit about when you wrote that and how that one came about.
Yeah, that one was written, I think, last year. That one is a co-write with Carter and Carter, and it's based on my experiences of my life. So my working career, I've worked for 6 different emergency services around the world, and now I'm the CEO of one of Melbourne's biggest councils, and through that, I've met so many people, and I've had so many experiences, and I've seen people make so many mistakes along the way, big decisions that they then later come to regret. and Take the Wheel is all about that cry out for help, for someone to grab the wheel and steer you back onto the right path, either the straight and narrow or into a new direction.
That's a lovely way of thinking and teaching people, because I know we were talking about that last time we had you, about your emergency service work and then the big changes. And it's interesting that you can actually write about it and take it out in this respect as well. Do you find, before you were putting music out to the world, did you write a lot during those times of working in all those roles to help?
No, I didn't. I've always sung, but only privately, never publicly, and I've never written. It was only about 3.5 years ago now that I started the songwriting and performing. It's all quite recent for me.
It is. It's good on you though. It's a really big step to take, and I know that, I guess working in the industries that you've worked in, that confidence is there, as you said, with public speaking and the different things. But it's a whole different ball game to get up and sing and then sing your own songs as well. It's a different, lots of layers of nerves there, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. It's I think public speaking, you're just speaking to the notes, you're doing those things. But when you're singing a song, particularly when you've written, there's so much more meaning of it to you, and I suppose I'm a lot more worried about making a mistake and stuffing up my own song than I am when I'm just emceeing something, because no one even really notices when you're doing that. But if you get a song wrong, people tend to notice, particularly if it's one that people have been listening to.
Out. Yeah, already out in the world. If it's not out, it's probably not so bad. But if it's out in the world. How have you gone? Because I know a lot of artists like to get out and play those songs to the world before they go and record them and get some reactions and feedback and that sort of thing. But you wouldn't have been able to do that with a lot of this, because especially in Victoria, you were so locked down. Do you think that was that a hard thing to go, well, which ones am I going to record, because you hadn't had that feedback from an audience, or it just feel right? Is that?
I did get to do some performing during that time, because we did have little breaks of lockdowns, fortunately. The feedback from the audiences is important, but I don't know. I think I just knew, and I knew which ones were the strong ones and which ones I personally was connecting with when I was singing, and which ones I could feel the emotion in. Because I think that you always connect more with some songs than you do others. It's some songs you listen to as well, isn't it? So so I think that was a relatively easy thing for me, I think.
Oh, good. Well, I think you're right. I think that connection, but also I think from a listener's point of view, you can hear that the connection, the feeling that the artist has with what they're doing and performing, because it's a different. It just seems to be such a different level of, they're enjoying it. They're they're meaning what they're saying. It changes the performance as well, doesn't it? And
absolutely.
Now, are you back? You were talking before we went live. You've been back doing a few shows. What have you been doing in the last since we all opened back up? Have you been doing festivals? Are you going to do some more coming up?
Yeah, so it was a bit of a closing the circle for me. I performed at 2 of the Taste of Tamworth shows as part of the tour that goes all through Victoria in the last month or so. That was amazing, because that was really where the country music journey started for me. It was attending one of those exact concerts 3 years ago with Lynn Botel, that I had the conversation with her and ended up going to the Country Music Academy. So to then 3 years later be on the same stage performing next to Lynn and sharing the stage with Jetty Road and Carter and Andrew Swift and people was just, that was just so amazing. It's absolutely the highlight for me so far. Yeah. I've got other things coming up. I've got the Lockington Country Music Festival coming up shortly, which is not too far from me actually, in Victoria. And then I've got a little bit of time off. We're taking the family over to the UK to see my family, who we haven't seen for 4 years now with lockdown. Yeah. So
wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then off to Tamworth in January.
Yes. Are you going to do some shows when you go over there? Try and do a few.
No, look, I probably won't when I go over there. There's one place in particular I might do something, but that one's really, I haven't seen my parents now for over 4 years, and my kids haven't seen their grandma. And so we're really looking forward to that break, and then straight back and into the thick of Tamworth. I think I've got 3 shows there lined up. So
already. Oh my goodness. Wow. I think Tamworth is coming so quick, but I think it's because it's not that long since we had it either.
That's right.
It's not we think when you get over Tamworth, a couple of months and then I'll need to start working on the new shows, but it's almost Tamworth finished and we're all on top of that trying to get the next lot booked in. It's been condensed down to
I couldn't make the April Tamworth when they changed the date. It clashed with too many things that I couldn't move. So so I've missed out. It's been a while, so I'm really looking forward to it.
It has been, hasn't it? Yeah. No, 2020 was the last time I got to go, and I couldn't go in April either. I was very upset because, one, I love Tamworth, but two, I was really looking forward to a Tamworth where I wasn't drenched in sweat.
Yes.
It would have been such a nice time and a very strange feeling, I imagine, for them.
Yeah, I think it's actually a better time of the year, isn't it, for Tamworth in April? But the traditional time is January, and I don't think they're in a hurry to move.
I don't think so, no. But I think it was a once in a lifetime chance getting to jump into Tamworth in April. It would have been very different, but we're slowly opening up and we're getting back to that level, and it's so exciting to be able to hear, like yourself, and I've got quite a few friends that have been over in the UK recently because they haven't seen family, they haven't seen friends, and it's been really hard on people doing that, I think. And
it's been very supportive from over there, though, certainly with the music. Friends and family and everyone over there have been following it. The song got to number 4 in the one of the country charts over in the UK, which is interesting because their country music's actually quite different to ours.
Yes, it is.
It's a slightly different genre.
Yeah, it really is. I have a lot of artists from the UK, and I know a lot of UK people following, and it is a very different scene. But they're some of the best supporters. They just love music and they love listening to new things and hearing. And I get some lovely feedback often from artists that I've had on that they probably wouldn't have, heard until that point. So it's really exciting. But I think you'll be able to go and enjoy the visit this time, and then next year maybe you can get back over there and do some shows and do a few festivals over there.
Look, I'd love to do that. It's because of course my love of country music came from my time growing up over there, and country music at that time in England was very much the traditional American country, the Brooks and Dunn and Garth Brooks, and there wasn't really an English country music scene then. So you can hear a bit of that influence in my voice, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think that that's impacted on your music today, that upbringing in that sort of, I guess it's the 90s sort of country, wasn't it? Because country music had a lot of music in America came out in the 90s and the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. Do you think that
absolutely. I mean, people like Garth Brooks certainly influenced me. And when you hear the album, I think you'll pick up some of the styles of it. It's very much the style of the storytelling. When I was growing up on the BBC, there was a guy called Bob Harris, and he's still going now. I think he's been going for 50 years or something.
Oh, wow.
He does Bob Harris's Country, and it's one of the most popular shows over there. Incredible man. He's featured in a few movies, actually, because of his background. And I used to listen to his music on a little radio under my pillow at night, listening to his show, trying not to get caught by my parents. And with all of that Garth Brooks stuff, thinking back, it would have been on the AM stations and things like that. So, that's where my love came from. And it was I'd never really heard of any Australian artists till I came here, and I love Australian country now.
Yeah. It's interesting to hear that, and I think a lot of Australia was the same. We didn't know a lot of our local artists, and back then it was American country music, and it was it seemed to be quite a small genre, as in room to move, and now I think it's definitely such a large genre because UK has a lot of different music, Australia has a lot of different music, and America and Canada, it all comes in under the country hat, and I think we've got a lot of room to move in this field.
Absolutely. I think the English have gone down a bit more down the folk country path than we have. I think ours is more the bush ballad and probably slightly more American style than the Brits. But Yeah, I still like a lot of that stuff too.
I
And
do, yeah.
I know that a lot of the English radio stations play a lot of Australian country too, which is good.
Yeah, that's fantastic, isn't it? It's the days of, you'd have to wait years or weeks or months to get a new song from overseas, and now we're just playing it on the radio everywhere. It's so much easier to access, and we get so
Absolutely.
much more to listen to, which is fantastic. There's no complaints from me. More music, the
No,
better.
exactly right. Yeah.
Oh dear. So what are your plans before you go away? Are you going to release any more singles before going away, or are you going to sort of just release the next one with the album? What are you planning there?
No, planning on the next one coming out in November. Just
Yes.
making the final arrangements for which one that's going to be, and making plans for the video for this one. I haven't done a video before, but we're going to do a video for this one, so this will be another new experience.
Have you got ideas on what you want the video to be, or are you just going to, put that into the company's hands and let them do it?
No, I've got some ideas, and I won't talk too much about that song, but
No.
the song, it has a very particular story and style to it. So I think from a storyline of a video perspective, it'll be a fairly straightforward one to do.
Yes.
But I've already picked the setting and the locations and
wow.
all of those things. So yeah, I've got a very clear idea in my mind.
How exciting. You'll have to do some, when you're filming, do some behind the scene footage so that we can see, experience it with you. I always love it when we get to see some of that, because we get to know the artist and what they've put into it and why they've designed it the way they have. Yeah.
That's a really good idea. I hadn't thought of that before. Yeah.
Definitely. Just let them look at us. We can suggest it because we all want to see it. So it'll be very exciting. I don't know how I would handle doing a film clip. It'd be so nerve-wracking, and you've got to sing and act and design, and it's a lot to it. I don't think I could do it. I'm not envious at all.
No, certainly getting some people around me that know what they're doing, because it's not my expertise either. My sister-in-law and brother-in-law have both got a lot of views on it. They're, or certainly my sister-in-law, she's won Grammys and things for, or whatever they offer, video production, and produces a lot of the TV commercials you see. So she's got a lot of ideas too.
Yes,
I've got a lot of support around me.
Loads of creation coming into
Yeah, that's right. It's more the nerves of the trying not to look so wooden and stilted in the video, in the acting part of it, which I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes.
It's very exciting. Now, I know we didn't touch on it before, and I meant to. I'm sorry. Take the wheel. Where's the best place that helps you as an artist for us to listen to that? And can we buy it yet, or is that going to be on the album, and we can get it then? Yeah,
look, no, it is available now. As you'd expect, it's available on all the normal streaming platforms. But the best place, I always say, is on my website, where you can purchase your own copy. There's also links there to all the streaming sites too. So yeah, if you visit craiglloyd.com.au, you'll see it up there, and other information about other shows I'm doing, and more information will be coming out shortly about the album as well.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I hope you come back for the album, because I can't wait to hear it. And I've had so many comments from people this week when they saw your ad go up, that, oh, this is so exciting. We really enjoying what you do. So you've got a very big fan base out there that I think are going to be loving new music from you and more shows.
Look, I've been amazed, to be honest, since we put this one out. The number of beautiful messages I've had and people getting in contact, it's been a bit overwhelming, to be honest. It's
really?
and it's been from all over, obviously largely Australia, but all over the world. I've had messages of people that have been listening and wanting to make contact, and it's been really heartwarming.
That must feel so good, because you've actually touched somebody enough for them to take the time to send you a message about it. That must feel amazing. And have they, as you're saying, what you wrote it about before, but have people been pulling different feelings and different things out of the song? Has that surprised you with what they see it as?
Yeah, they have, and the number of people that have asked me to send them a copy of the lyrics as well has been quite amazing.
Yeah, okay.
Different people have taken different meanings out of it. I think
Yes.
I think that's one of the things when you write a song like this. It's where people then, as they're hearing it, are thinking about the things that they've either experienced themselves or that their friends and family have been through. And yeah, it's quite different, the reaction to this particular song than I've had on the previous two.
That's what I actually really love about music, because what you wrote it and what you intended it to be, and it was probably, it helps you in some ways because you're getting your feelings and thoughts down on paper. But I love hearing what people take of different songs and how it impacts them, because music, it will remind us of certain things in our time, and what the song was originally written about completely changes from person to person. And I think that just shows the strength and the power of music and song in a whole.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I love that's why I love it so much, I think, and especially our genre, because we've got so much expression and different things to put out in the world.
And I'm just glad people think it means something to them, and whatever they get from it, then that's a good thing. That's the intention of it.
It is a wonderful song. I've had a few listens to that song all week, which has been wonderful. I always listen to music when it releases, and then when I'm going to do a show, I always listen to it more. But it's actually coming up in my car all the time, which is great, because I love it. When somebody repeats and repeats in your car, that it knows that you're liking it, and you've obviously listened to it enough times, it'll throw it back at you again and again. But,
thank you for that.
The reason that I was asking about platforms and what was the better for you as an artist, because of late, it used to be Apple, iTunes, the charts that if people were going off, then it was radio. But I've actually had a lot of people say, I'm focusing on Spotify now rather than iTunes, or as all these platforms are changing. So that's why I always try to find out what's your best, what would you prefer, or what are you focusing on? But Spotify seems to be sort of taking over a little bit at the moment with people's preference.
Yeah, look, it does. And look, I love Spotify because I think it's got the smartest algorithms and things that present to you music that you're likely to enjoy. And it's a bit creepy, actually, the way it works that out. But at the same time, I know that there's a lot of artists that post about Spotify complaining that the revenue they get from it is not enough to cover anything.
Oh gosh, no.
You
don't even get coffee.
No, that's right. Look, and I'm not in a position where, for me, music's not my primary source of income. It's not something I've got to live on. But for those that do, it's probably not great. But the actual platform itself is just incredible. You get to hear so much, and so much of it that I like. It's amazing.
Exactly, and I really like that it will actually throw out music that you haven't heard before based on what you like. So it kind of grows your knowledge and your vision of what's out there. And I love it when it surprises me with a really good one that I think, I don't know who that is. It's a challenge. I have to now learn. But yes, you're right. It is. And look, it doesn't matter what platform you play it on in that respect. None of them pay well. No. It's just a matter of what you're focusing on. And I guess it's more about a platform that then the more it plays, the more it sends your music out to people, and like it does with us with the new people. So that's sort of, I think, where people are focusing now, because I don't think you ever think, I'll make my money back with sales of that song on my Spotify platform anymore. It's not possible.
No, unless you've got hundreds of millions of streams, it's not going to happen. For me, it's an absolute honor each time any single person listens to my music, because that's what I recorded it for. And so if I got one stream a month, I'd be happy because someone had listened to it. But that's where I love it.
What is the reaction from your family been with this song? Did they obviously would have heard you writing it, heard you practicing it. Have they enjoyed it, or are they about done? They listened to it too many times.
My kids know every word. In fact, they know every word of every song on the album. And my daughter, who's 9, is coming into the studio tomorrow. She's actually going to be doing a little bit of the backing vocals on one of the other songs because she's got a beautiful voice. Their reaction's been amazing. My parents' reaction was interesting when they first listened to it. They love the song and they've been promoting it and all sorts. But my mum wanted to know quite up front, is this about you? And I had to say no, because if you listen to the story, it's quite confronting. And it's not about me. It's about the things I've seen and heard. So that was an interesting discussion. And she did ask if my next one could be a happy song. So
fair enough. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
so I promised her that the next one will be a happy song, and it will be. So.
Oh, that's we're going to have a lovely mix on your album by the sounds of things, which
Absolutely.
is very exciting. Yeah. Paula has popped in and she said that Spotify's awesome. She loves it. I know Paula is an incredible Australian or anywhere music supporter. She just loves new music and always pops in. So yeah, I think Spotify is with the algorithms probably the one I like the most with what it throws at me. Yeah. So.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, I know I've talked for longer than I always say I do 20-minute shows and I never do it. I'm sorry. But before we do go, where can we follow you on social media and what was your website again?
Yeah, so the website's craiglloyd.com.au. You can follow me on... craiglloyd.com.au, or if you're listening in England, you can do craiglloyd.co.uk either as well. So Facebook and Instagram are really the other ones that I focus on. Largely Facebook. I found for my genre and my age of people, I think Facebook seems to be the primary place to go. I've just started playing with TikTok too, but that's all a bit wild. So
you're brave. You're brave. We do have it, but I'm not silly enough to do it. I'm not that good with technology. I'm not. I'll make a fool of myself.
I haven't posted anything yet. I'm not sure quite how to broach that one. I think that might be all right for those little behind the scenes clips.
I was about to say that.
Video.
That would be great for the behind the scenes stuff. That would be a bit of fun and get a different crowd in as well. But yes, I think in Australia, Facebook is still kind of that main thing. But it is interesting when you travel. A lot of people are on Instagram, and there's so many different places now. It makes it hard for people like us to post because you've got to do so many just for one thing. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
it's one of those things. Well, thank you so much for coming and chatting to us again. And I actually really love Take the Wheel, so I'm really excited to hear the rest of what's coming this year and next year as well. But hopefully, if you're doing it again in November, hopefully you're brave enough to come back to us and we can have a chat about that too before the album's out.
Oh, absolutely. And thank you so much for having me on. And yeah, I'll definitely come back on with the next single. Without giving too much away, the next song is actually a duet, and it's with someone who's very, very well known in the country music genre. So maybe we can do that one together. This will be your first duet recording? Yeah. How did that feel? Was that a bit different as well? That was probably the most confronting one because it was a song that I've had for a while and we've been working on, and to be singing it and then to have someone so amazing singing the other parts is quite confronting because they are so good. So
that would be
nerve-wracking.
That would be really nerve-wracking.
When you've got someone who's spent so many years in the studio, just knows how to nail it first go and everything. Yeah, that puts the pressure on.
That does. But it also, I think it would be such a good learning point as well. I reckon that's
absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Everybody that's watching now, and I know that I've already had messages, and a lot of you are going to watch the replay. Make sure you're following Craig on all his socials. And at the top, I have put a link to his YouTube page as well. So have a look at that and go and listen to Take the Wheel if you haven't already. But I know that most of you already have. I've had some lovely comments saying that he's one of my favorites. So very excited people out there. So thank you very much. And we'll actually be back in half an hour. We've got another show coming with Ronnie as well. So stick around if you're free, and otherwise you can watch the replay later on when you're ready. Thank you so much, Craig. We'll see you very soon.
Thank you, Danni. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for listening. We hope you've enjoyed today's program. See you next time with the latest with